Are we far enough apart to your taste, Paul?
Well, from a purely friendship point of view, I don't think we're far enough apart. Hello, denizens of the internet. Welcome to my channel. As you can see over there, I've got another denizen, one of my favorite denizens, Maarten Heilbron, who actually, slums around in the photography side of the YouTube world, as opposed to, my Hackintoshing and Apple stuff. But I've invited him to talk about something that I think would be interesting to all of you, and that Marshall McLuhan's medium is the message, cold and hot media. Are we on hot media, Martin, or are we on cool media?
Is YouTube hot or cold?
Yeah.
Shall we start with defining whether television is hot or cold?
Well, we'll do that after I throw to my intro.
Yes.
Don't let me not throw to my intro, Martin.
Sorry.
I
Put in your ad
thousands
break,
of dollars
Paul.
on it. See you later. Welcome back.
Oh, we're here.
Okay,
is it okay if I turn sideways? Will that work?
Yeah, I was hurting my back here.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you out there, we're shooting this on Martin's camera and on my camera. So at any point, we're actually going to be looking at the wrong camera.
Right.
So at some point, I should talk to your camera sometimes.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I?
Well, maybe.
That would be fair.
I'm actually talking to my atoms more than I am to my lens. Because, that's where I'm looking. I like to look at me. That's the way things go. Is that hot or cold?
Not a problem. No, I don't know. Oh, Jesus, Murphy. I didn't know you could see my shorts here, and the wire is sticking out down my front like a tampon.
See, that would never go in traditional TV, right?
No.
The traditional TV that Marshall McLuhan called cool,
right,
is not anything like what we are doing. Primarily because whatever screen you're watching it on is probably not black and white, which was the norm in McLuhan's day.
So we should, for the audience that we have out there, let's, first of all, who was Marshall McLuhan?
A Canadian philosopher, student of and professor of media at University of Toronto, but actually a disciple of Harold Innis. So if you really want to understand,
wow.
I'm going to go here. So if you really want to understand McLuhan, you have to read Harold Innis, because that is where the sort of basic underlying structure of what McLuhan is saying comes from.
And I almost went to the McLuhan Institute. My dad wanted me to go to U of T, so he talked with Marshall and convinced him to let me enter his course, but instead I went to Ryerson for radio, television arts.
Well, that makes two of us.
That's
yes,
right.
Although my alternate was the University of Alberta Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting program, which was going to lead to a master's in directing.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. I remember that audition well, me crawling around on the floor pretending to be a log rolling down the river. But I aced it.
Yeah.
They
you were
accepted
a good log?
me.
So Marshall McLuhan was a professor at U of T, and he came up with, the medium is the massage. And if you watch any Woody Allen movies, there's actually a great scene where Annie Hall, where some individual in the line in a movie is pontificating about something and
who's claiming to be an
expert on Marshall McLuhan,
Columbia professor.
That's right. And then Marshall McLuhan just comes out of the out of a
Woody Allen drags him out from behind a movie poster.
Details.
Yes.
You're sounding like my wife.
Oh, sorry.
God damn it. It's just like he's there, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so he comes out and Marshall McLuhan tells him he's an asshole, which I thought was one of the funniest.
Yeah, well, it tells it, yeah.
It was one of the funniest moments
right.
ever.
But McLuhan was prone to do exactly those kind of things. He was not the high horse, intellectual. He tried to be common, approachable, and make his course and make his books fun.
But he came up with this concept of hot and cool media.
Right.
And so, for instance, just from a shorthand point of view, TV is cool. Again, according to him.
In his definition.
In his definition, TV is cool. Print is cool. Print is hot. Cartoons are cool. Comics is cool. Hot would be movies. I don't think he mentioned theater, but books are hot.
Yeah.
So why were they hot and cool?
The concept that he was talking about was immersive.
Right.
So the more, and he actually talked about high resolution, not high definition,
right.
but high resolution, and he felt that movies, which were so immersive and so involving, were hot. Whereas television, which sat in a corner, small screen, black and white, it was, you know, you could jump in and jump out, was cool. It didn't grab you and involve you in the same way.
He also talked about the more effort that's required to decipher what was going on made it cool.
Yeah. So, and in my media studies at Ryerson, we really, and it's the Nixon-Kennedy debates that were the focus of...
we are losing more
and more
viewers
all the
as
time.
we Who
as
the
we
hell is Marshall McLuhan? Now
into
let's go
the
even
Wayback
further
Machine. Yeah.
to Nixon and Kennedy.
No, but that's the era, right? That's
Okay.
the era.
Sure.
So, and the reason that's usually posited as to why Kennedy aced the debates and Nixon looked like a fool was that Nixon was hot and sweaty and got a little bit heated. And Kennedy, you know, looked cool, looked calm,
And didn't
looked
have a 5
comfortable.
o'clock shadow.
Well, you know, yes.
They talked about that.
Yes.
They talked about the fact that they shaved Nixon right to the very last
And
moment.
still?
I mean, he shaved his face.
Yes.
Like, we're not talking about
Yeah.
manscaping.
No.
That's a new thing.
Well,
I don't
yes.
get manscaping. Like, I would never do that.
No?
Are you into manscaping? That's like, I don't know. I wouldn't put a shaver down
No,
there.
You don't know where I wouldn't put a shaver. Anyway, the idea then was that if you did not look comfortable and cool on
Right.
television, that you were not being an effective communicator. That television required you to be calm and distanced and well-mannered. And,
Well,
and traditionally, let me continue
Sorry.
just for one
Go
second,
ahead.
because traditional television has a whole bunch of rules, has a whole bunch of structures and restrictions. No foul language, no swearing, no coarse language, none of that.
Except for cable.
But that's later,
Right.
right? Traditional television.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The other thing is that television is a close-up medium, and this is one
Yep.
of the things that makes, in my mind, television hot, which is that once you're that close to someone, to some person that you're looking at, they are very much in your face, and and this is actually one of the things that McLuhan also talks about, is how that's where the medium is the message comes from. That the restructuring of thought and approach and the rethinking of the way things work comes from a medium. So cinema taught us that we didn't have to respect time, because things could be cut, things could be speeded up, things could be slowed down. Cinema restructures our sense of time. So then what does television restructure is the way that we look at things. So, for example, what we are doing here, and we are YouTubing it, because in television we would not ever sit this way. Two people who are talking sit at a 45-degree angle. My camera is there, your camera is there. We speak to our respective cameras and slightly cheat to the person that we're
Right.
talking to.
And we're going to be
Whereas
cutting in and
yeah.
out, front and back, because
Right.
YouTube,
Yeah,
it's a
but
convention.
television, wide shot, and close-ups on each of the programs. Whereas YouTube is very much this. It's very much two people looking at the camera and somewhat speaking to one another.
So let me explain one of the frustrations with TV, and one of the things that you learn early on when you're trying to understand the differences between the medium. Television is an immediate medium. It tells the truth versus theater. So theater, I could be on
film.
stage,
Mm-hmm.
or film. But I mean, theater is so unbelievably amazing in that I could walk on stage and just with my mannerisms pretend I'm overweight, and through my dialogue I could be conveying the fact that I'm in a Shinto temple, and the people who are watching in the audience are going, oh, he's in a Shinto temple and he's dealing with weight issues, right?
Right.
If I take a camera to record that for that evening's entertainment news, the people who are watching it on TV are going, well, it's just some skinny guy, like running around on a black stage, and he's, what? I don't get it.
Yeah.
What temple?
Right.
He's not fat.
Right.
Where that is the essence of television versus theater. Theater, I think, is a hot medium, very hot, because of that magic that you can convey. You don't need a set to make people think that you're on a mountain somewhere.
Right.
You just tell people that.
Right.
There's a good example, and I won't go through all the different medium. And radio, which we did a lot of radio with the Frantics. I mean, holy smokes, we went to planets. We, just through sound effects. So radio's a hot medium from that perspective. But Marshall McLuhan didn't say cool as in it's cold, cool as in it's jazz cool.
Right.
As in it's
Yeah.
cool.
It's hip.
It's hip.
It's happening.
Yeah, which we are, right?
No.
No?
But the point was to talk about how YouTube has its own
That's what we want to talk about.
language, and we were trying to figure out in our pre-recording conversation whether YouTube was hot or cold. So
Or cool.
or cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, hot or cool. And I think the first thing that we need to do is establish that the TV of McLuhan's day is different from the TV that we know today. Screens are larger.
Lower definition?
Higher definition.
No, back then.
Oh, back then,
Back then, it
low
was like
definition,
crap.
black and white.
Yeah.
Small screens. And now we've really moved to a world where television is much more immersive, and it is finally doing what the dream of television in the early days would do, which is to be an opiate, which is to be the soma, to be the way that people will sit on their sofa and stay there without moving. Maybe they get a beer, maybe they eat some chips, so that you don't realize that for every hour that you're watching, you're absorbing 15 minutes of ads.
Right.
The idea is to keep you from not moving while ads are force-fed to you.
But I would have to say, and I think you'll agree, that when you first saw sports broadcast in HD, it was dramatic.
Yes.
So does that turn our tiny 3x4 standard def television with the scan lines into a hot medium?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's what I didn't say that explicitly, but yes, that was the point that I was
figured that's where you were heading.
Yes.
I just thought that nobody there really understood what you were saying.
Yeah.
So, my camera dies after 30 minutes. When did we start this?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do we need to
take a look? I don't think we have been talking for 30 minutes, have we?
No.
You have a timer on your camera there?
Well, it's going backwards.
Oh, it's backwards.
But it's
so are
still
we.
recording, so it only does 30 minutes.
Oh, so we both die at the same time.
Well, we should. So
we can check.
Do you want to check?
I'll check. I'll check.
This is the enormous change of YouTube, that because it's become so personal.
Correct.
Because in a television studio, you've got a team of 12, 15 more people.
Right.
All working and all creating an illusion, all creating something for you.
Well, speak
that
for yourself. When I do my YouTube videos, I have 12 people working. I've got makeup people, lunch people. I've got like crew, grip, not so grip.
Not so, right. Best
lighting,
boy,
best
not
boy,
so good boy.
Best boy. Stop it. Now you're talking about Anderson Cooper again.
Television remains very formal, and YouTube is not. And like there are rules.
So does that make it hot or cool?
But that's it. Is YouTube actually a cool medium as opposed to television?
And then what resolution are you watching it at? Are you watching it on your phone? Are you watching it in a tiny screen on your monitor at home, or have you blown it up on your 4K monitor?
How many people do that?
Yeah,
I think that most people watch YouTube in a window and don't actually watch it full screen.
So does it flip between cool and hot?
Oh, for some, well, yeah. I mean, in as much as, sorry, did we get to the point where we agreed that currently television is kind of hot?
Yeah, I would say it is.
Okay. So then what is YouTube? Well, for some creators, it's hot, and for others, it's cold. And for some viewers, it's hot, and for other viewers, it's cool.
Interesting. Wow.
I mean, I don't think, YouTube is such a wide-ranging world of expression that it's not possible to easily categorize it. If you talk about a YouTube video, how to replace the manifold on your car, or how to paint your fingernails, is that hot or cool?
Depends on how hot the person is doing it.
Oh, that's a different hot.
That's a different.
Now we're going to end up talking about
personality.
Mary Tyler Moore again, aren't we?
Yeah, I like Mary Tyler Moore. She was hot. Hot in a cool medium.
But she was, yes. Okay, so now there's the third degree of hotness, or the third kind of hotness.
So we can just finish things off. We don't have to have a ton of garbage here. So on YouTube, if I choose, I could keep the walk back to my chair. One of the things that's unique about television, and maybe it's because of its placement in our homes, is that what it does is bring friends into your living room. Not the show Friends, but I mean, say that's really that too. But that's actually Friends is a very good example. Mm-hmm. You are inviting these people into your living room. You're not just watching them on the screen. This is my theory. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes.
In that sense, I think YouTube is inviting people who you like into your work desk, your
bedroom. Office.
Mistakes are allowed in YouTube and encouraged.
Well, mistakes
sometimes.
are allowed, but imperfections are allowed. It's not like, I think mistakes for the most part get edited out, and I think in traditional television everybody knows what's going to happen, and if something unexpected happens, it's cut, retake.
Right.
Absolutely. Whereas in YouTube, many YouTube creators will start something, will start recording a video with no sense of how this is going to end. Well, they have not.
I don't have any idea how it's going to start. That's how I do my videos.
But they have not got the whole process figured out yet. They're just working it out as they go, and you see all of that, which you don't get to see on television. And I think that too, it makes YouTube a very different medium and makes it much cooler than television. And television in the year 2020.
And there's also so much new style content that YouTube invented, such as the commentary video, where you will comment on someone else's video, and then the person who got commented on comments on the video that they were commented to, and then I've lost myself. But you know what I'm talking about.
I know, this kind of circle jerk kind of
thing. There you go.
Oh, my favorite is the people who play songs. And you get to watch them listen to songs.
Yeah, that's old. That's been around for a while. Yeah,
but those are...
It depends on the song. And maybe because YouTube remains a cool medium, maybe that is what allows people to get away with doing these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So you could never do that on the big screen. If right in the middle of Avengers whatever, the Super Underpants Part 2, suddenly Iron Man starts just listening to a Neil Young song.
But that doesn't make compelling cinema.
Correct.
It doesn't make compelling television.
But it does make compelling YouTube.
It does make compelling YouTube.
There you go.
And that's, there's the difference of how YouTube presents itself to its audience and how the audience accepts from YouTube things that they have not been given the opportunity to accept.
I just saw a new channel of a guy who does, he cooks ancient food, long lost recipes that nobody uses anymore. And a brilliant idea. It's one of those things where I bet you he pitched it to the Food Network, they turned it down, and he said, screw it, I'm going to make a YouTube channel on it. And his channel has just skyrocketed because it's really fascinating. It's really, really interesting. He's making ancient food.
There are lots of ideas that the gatekeepers of those channels don't consider suitable. They don't consider it worthy content.
And YouTube lets us circumvent the gatekeepers. Your show would not be on any channel.
No.
But it's a great show. Like, it's so unbelievably cool watching you go through the minutiae of these different cameras.
Thanks. Yeah.
So I think we're done. Martin.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Up.
So long, denizens. Thank you very much for participating in this video. So whatever Maarten has on his channel, I'll just say bye, fans of Maarten, and you can say bye to my fans. To Maarten's camera, my camera.
Well, hopefully there's something useful in there.